Now, you know, because I've told you and shown you that thanks to freedom information applications by Liberal Senator Alex Antic, you know that your federal government secretly censored social media posts during COVID about government responses like mask mandates and posts about the effectiveness of vaccines and about vaccine mandates. We've highlighted this travesty, this secret censorship, a number of times on this program, and I've covered it in the Australian newspaper too. But most of the media has ignored it because most of the media was into COVID alarmism and COVID fear-mongering and all the disinformation that went with that. Yet now in the US, the Facebook founder and Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg has admitted similar censorship at the behest of government authorities there, and he's admitted it was wrong. I believe the government pressure was wrong, and I regret that we were not more outspoken about it, Zuckerberg wrote in a letter to a political judiciary committee on the Hill. I also think we made some choices that, with the benefit of hindsight and new information, we wouldn't make today. What an amazing and astonishing admission. Let me bring in Liberal Senator Alex Antic. Good to talk to you again, Alex. Now, this doesn't surprise you or me, but it's an important admission, and people in Australia seem to be so blasé about the way our own government used these digital giants to lie to us.
Yeah, Chris, I mean, it was hard to get any sort of interest in that story. You mentioned the Freedom of Information application at all. I mean, you know, thanks to you for printing it and writing about it in the Australian. I think it was a massive story. And a massive scandal, frankly, that we had the Department of Home Affairs who were effectively dobbing Australians in for Facebook posts, Twitter posts to those companies, and in many cases being censored and having posts removed. So we're entering into a very different world, and we have been there for some time now, where social media companies, big tech companies, have so much control over the narrative, the sort of control really that newspapers would have dreamed of once upon a time, that we haven't quite worked out how this works. And we're seeing it. I actually spoke to Dr. Robert Epstein on my podcast Based about this very issue from the point of view of big tech companies and how they can move people around to see things that they want to see. But it also applies to social media. And yes, it is good to see Meta making these mea culpa style admissions a little bit too late. I mean, I'm getting a bit tired of this happening after the event, whether it's a politician or whoever. There's plenty more to go, by the way. We've got a lot of government departments, a lot of politicians, and a lot of health bureaucrats that could be doing the same. Yeah. And you can only look at this a little bit cynically, I have to say.
Just quickly to recap those who missed what went on in Australia, this was the Home Affairs Department under anti-terrorism laws, really, that was doing the bidding for the Health Department and paying an outside provider millions of dollars to identify posts on Twitter and Facebook and the like in Australia that they didn't like about their COVID restrictions, and getting Twitter and Facebook to take them down, using our money to censor us, and it was all done in secret.
Yeah, look, we didn't know about it until I had a suspicion, and I just simply asked the question, and there it was right in front of us. And that's exactly what was happening. And in many cases, as you said earlier in the piece, they were taking down information that was right, that was correct, that had no problem at all. And so, look, it's quite a scandal. I think it's a massive scandal. And I think I'm alarmed by the amount of government intervention there is in freedom of speech across the world at the moment. We've got the situation with Pavel Durov, the founder of Telegram, who's been arrested in France for reasons that will presumably come to attention. But Telegram is a fairly open platform, and he seems to be defending it.
Just on that, before I run out of time, I want to mention the other confession from Zuckerberg, and it related to the Hunter Biden laptop story, which the digital giants deliberately suppressed. And now, as you see there, Zuckerberg has said it's since been made clear that the reporting was not Russian disinformation, and in retrospect, we shouldn't have demoted the story. Now, this was a crucial story in the lead up to the 2020 US presidential election, and it was deliberately censored because of bad information given to Facebook by US law enforcement authorities.
Yeah, and look, I would say to those who simply deny the presence of election interference in that last presidential election, that is it. That is the very smoking gun, if nothing else is.
Absolutely.
I mean, we literally had millions of votes which would have turned on that issue. And we haven't addressed this problem, the problem of big tech and social media companies now being the town square and having as much control as they do. It's an issue that we have to firstly acknowledge out in the great wide world and then secondly address at political level.
Spot on. Good to talk to you again, Alex. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Chris.